Boom.
I feel
All right.
like we would have great talks.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Matter of fact, we used to do that on like Friday nights and stuff. So, at Steve's shop, but it's all good. But this is kind of like the pre-show to the big show. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So we're gonna get go through the splash screens and let go through the intro. This is time to talk biker podcast and what's going down today. So, folks, we're doing a local recording because I think I got a virus on my computer. That's why I haven't posted the bike night and a couple other things. But I'm gonna get it fixed. I'm an IT guy, so I'm gonna run some virus scans and Windows Defender and all that stuff. So, I got my guest with me, Revving to Riches. We're gonna, we've been trying to get this topic taken care of for a minute. So I couldn't wait anymore, and plus I got military duty. And the one thing I do respect about Geo, it's like he keeps reminding me and holding me honest with it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Like if you're doing like a partnership type thing, it's all about accountability, and I'm doing the best I can with it. So I'm gonna get it fixed. I will get it fixed. But Geo, quick intro. What you've been up to, and make sure you check him out. I actually did a recording for him at Cycle Gear. He already posted it. That'll also be part of my video coming up. But I have like writing footage in there. But Gio, what you been up to before we get started?
Yeah, so amazing. So I've been working a lot and thinking on getting this GoPro soon. I need to get some footage of riding as well.
Mandatory,
I need
brother.
to hop on it, man, because I've had a lot of comments in certain videos of folks asking me that they want to see me ride, and it's long overdue for now.
Yeah. I mean, and then even the GoPro 3 that I have, that's like way old, bro. It only does like 30 FPS. And I don't know in today's standard if that's something, I never want to set anybody up for failure that I'm helping. So,
Yeah,
we're gonna get it right. We're gonna get it right. Yeah, we need footage because yeah, that's gonna kind of segue into the reason why we're coming together for this. Um, just kind of the nature of competition when it comes to like the bike life, racing, so on and so forth. Um, I've come to realize that in our world, there are a lot of egos. There's a lot of feelings in terms of you know somebody talking about your bike, somebody get offended or insulted, and so on and so forth. And, just to try to delve into why that is, I can speak from experience. I know that when my bike was at Carpenter getting worked on, I had folks making comments about my bike or even calling Carpenter. And one thing I will respect about Bob and Eric, like they're not gonna divulge information about it's not they respect privacy. You know what I'm saying? Whether it
right.
be as big money bikes and so on and so forth. That's why I had to cut a significant amount of footage that I had from down there, and just my people close to me get to see it. I still have to show it to Revving to Riches, but I saw some really wonderful machines down there that people livelihoods. They put money up. They go down to the strip, that kind of stuff. So, like, Gio, what are your thoughts on folks like let's say somebody's talking about Rocky. Oh, Rocky can't do this and Rocky can't do that. It does kind of for me. I know for me it'll needle me like, hey, why are you talking about my bike? That's you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of give me your thoughts on this.
It would. I would have to say it would definitely make me feel some type of way
Right,
because
right.
of I know what I've put into my bike and I know what my bike has, and no one else would know your own bike unless it's its own rider.
Right, right, right.
I mean, and when it comes down to it, um, I don't think anybody should be walking around thinking that they're psychic, saying my bike is faster than yours ain't faster than mine, because you don't know what I have on my bike. I may not know what you have on your bike, but I wouldn't do that. If we were gonna roll race or have fun or whatever down at Mexico, how we usually say it's good sportsmanship. I think it should be kept there. You know, it
Right,
shouldn't be
right, right, right.
any taking it serious, any taking it personal. When it comes down to it, we all brothers in tools, and it's kind of like overrated getting upset and taking it personal for no good apparent reason.
Right, right. And you know what? You touched a point that I was gonna get on later in the show. That if you're competitive, that's okay. I'm not saying not to be
Yeah,
competitive,
yeah,
but I
definitely,
don't think
definitely.
people should be toxic in the spirit of sportsmanship. I competed in martial arts. I was trained since the age of 6. I was competing in high school for wrestling. Returned to competition when I was in college, and so on and so forth. The one thing with my sensei, always say, stay humble, because there's always
Right,
somebody else that has your number. There's always somebody bigger. I,
right,
I
right.
remember Buster Douglas was talking about what his mother was saying and how to stay humble, because there's always somebody bigger and better. Or was that Shaquille? No, it was. I remember
Correct.
Buster Douglas and Shaquille O'Neal's stepdad, who's also, if he's still alive, rest his soul. Um, that he taught Shaq, no matter how gifted he is, there's always somebody that got your number. and,
Right,
and and you can't be overconfident. You can't be toxic. You can't be, because it does get kind of, people get in their feels. Shout out to Panda, Dub Panda, that they do the drag racing down in that special location in Mexico, and I've seen a gentleman. Uh, big shout out to Shannon Lee. I believe he's on Facebook, and he was on their channel, and he has ZX14. I think he has probably the best 60-foot launches or the short launches I've ever seen. And this is when he had his 14 stock. The guy can move.
yeah.
He can get out that hole like nobody's business. So I saw him getting into an argument with the other fella by the name of TJ, who has a nitrous built Busa. And man, these guys are it's people are getting in their feels, man. Like, because on the video, Gio, what happened? The 14 got out and won the race. It was close, but he got out and won the race. But TJ on the Busa caught up, but it was a little too late, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
roll the footage. You can't argue the tape. Well, you can't argue the facts. Like, TJ lost by half a bike, and now all of a sudden he wants to argue, and then the point being that Shannon won. The money should be given, and the story, right? You be a
Right,
man of your word. You put the money up. Now TJ is like, "Oh, give me my money back," and then you give him Shannon his money back. Now here's the problem with that, right? Now these guys are beating up on their bikes, right? And a lot of times, if they're gonna do a race, hey, throw some money up, because hell, you're not beating up your bike and not gonna make something to put some maintenance back into it. That's kind
right,
of why I'm reluctant. And I remember some folks trying to goat me to do stuff at the track or whatever. Number one, that's my street bike. Two, if something happens, are those people trying to goat me into doing something stupid or taking an unnecessary risk? Are they gonna help me to restore my bike? If not, shut the
right.
hell up. Mind your damn
At the
business.
end of the day, yeah. At the end of the day, I don't think they would, and I feel the same way. I
Right,
feel exactly where you come from,
right,
because my bike as well is my street bike. Hell, I'm not gonna take it to the track because somebody is kind of peer pressuring me to go race. If I'm not saying I don't like the track, I would love to, but I would have to get me another bike for that.
Yeah, if you're gonna go balls to the wall or whatever, like then you might want to get a dedicated machine, you know. But it's just
Right.
some people try to goat you into it. Like again, back to the first piece, there are egos. There are some folks that just are so unhealthily stuck in the spirit of competition, which it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it has to be managed. You know, there's some folks that are okay with the trash talking and this, that, and the third, but like, what happened to just, simple respect? Hey, you race me, I race you, you win, whatever. You got folks that like to rub it in your face, and it's like, you know what? If you're on the receiving end of that, you wouldn't like that either. You know,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where I'm like, what happened to sportsmanship? What happened to just simple respect? Because at the end, people don't realize there's only a few of us. It's a small community that uh, that on twos, and you're gonna run into each other at bike nights and so on and so forth, and that's kind of where it's like, just keep the peace, keep the peace. I don't know why it has to be ugly. I don't know why it has to be like, people putting 100 on 10. It's not necessary. Like, just do your thing. Let's have fun. Or as there was a radio show I used to listen to. Just be nice. Be nice. But I don't think not everybody shares the same sentiment, those same values. But it's just a talking point. We're having the conversation. You know. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I
but
agree.
yeah, but I mean also too, there are some folks, in terms of, and this is generally speaking. There's no one individual or so, because some folks could take it where they're like, whoever sees this podcast or whatever might take it like folks are being singled out. No, I've been writing for a long time. I've been writing since 2010, like 2011 to 20, like, so I'm entering my 13, finished 13 seasons, going into 14 seasons, right? I started writing
Yeah.
after my first deployment, and um what I've learned is like, you have some people who would rep a brand or platform. Let's say, um, it's gonna seem pointed, but when the S1000 first came out, it was like the best thing since sliced bread, latest cutting edge technology. The Germans really came out, did their homework with that engineering. Out of the box, it's the bang for your buck if you're just going to the track, road racing, so on and so forth. Like, there's very little you need to do with it to go fast, right? Whereas others, you have to tinker with it, and that's just facts, right? But when individuals defend a platform so blindly because of their personal preference, like, I've even been challenged on my preference in terms of, like, I'm a Kawasaki guy through and through. Like, that's never, never, never gonna change. All right. So with that said, um, I've had folks tell me, "Well, Kawasaki's trash. This, that, and the third. They're slow. They're this and that." I'm like, who says that? I mean, if out of the box, what they have to understand from European bikes don't get the same restrictions that Japanese bikes get when they come over, right? Kawasaki,
Correct.
Honda, Suzuki, heavily restricted, and then, oh yeah, yeah, my bike. Take do an ECU flash and then see. There'll be more on par, right? But again, this is
Right.
generally speaking, because if you do the data and checking and so on and so forth, I saw a video of Chris Moore, what he was doing with a Gixxer 1000, and it was outperforming, two platforms which are supposed to be like kings, you know, and it just comes down to like, man, people will argue you down. It's just like WWE stuff. Like, somebody could like Cody, another person like Roman, and they're ready to fight over it, and it shouldn't be like
Seriously,
that.
exactly the same way.
Right, right, right. So I mean, Gio, I know you've seen this. via the shop or been out. Like, what are your thoughts on folks getting like that? Like, because I think that folks just need to agree to disagree without attacking each other. Your thoughts?
I definitely feel that everyone will at some point agree to disagree.
Yeah, yeah,
No, there's no harm in that. There's no harm in that. But if you take things too personal, and you can't really take the pressure, then you shouldn't even be around things like that. Like, I'm not saying don't ride your bike, don't race, but if you know yourself and you know you're gonna fold under pressure and take it personal, then don't even get started. Don't
right,
even get
right,
started.
right, right.
All bad. Remain humble. Keep it all fun. As we've been talking from the beginning, it's all fun. I mean, we're supposed to be brothers in two. I can't stress that enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it's like, why argue for? Like,
Right.
what's the benefactor that we will receive from arguing and fighting to see who has the biggest and the baddest bike?
Right, right, right. It just to me, it's just having fun with it, and I'm gonna name drop two YouTubers that are doing their thing. The one who definitely predated me, Outspoken Tiger. His content was fire, bro. Very simple. He didn't put all the music and all the stuff that I do, right? But when I'm
Yeah,
talking some epic stuff, when they're down in Mexico running their thing, awesome, right? But I did notice that he kind of fell off the scene in terms of like he just kind of it wasn't as frequent, and then I was wondering why, and I think those in the comments can probably correct me on this, but I guess competition may get people in their feelings or whatever, and probably gave him a hard time. And it's like, hey, you know
right,
what? I'm not gonna do it no more or whatever. And now you killed the fun, the killjoy, Halo style. You know what I mean? And it says,
yeah, yeah.
why do it like that? Shout out to my boy Travis, aka Mr. Moto Mac. He and I had a short conversation on this where it's like, you know, some people just take it to heart, and they make it not fun anymore. You know, and I'm a big Street Fighter player, right? And I get it. If you're losing or whatever and stuff happens, like you're gonna get mad and like, man, I'm gonna throw the controller or whatever, you know. But I think that folks have to change their perception of how they receive a loss because, believe it or not, the first race I ever did with Zeus on the street, I lost. I lost, and
Okay,
and
yeah.
it was to an S1000 and to a good friend of mine. Shout out to him on twos. He knows who he is, and you know, granted, I was still early with the bike or whatnot, but in my head, I was saying to myself, well, on paper, I have more horsepower. On paper, I have more torque. And dude, that loss kind of like really messed with me for a bit because it was like, you know, you don't want to go into it like blindly saying, hey, you know what, my 14 should be able to crush stuff because at the end of the day, it's up to the rider. So
Right.
after that loss, it taught me something like stay humble because I went in there like, oh, it's a 14, I should just easily win, right? Not the case.
Correct. Yeah.
So
Right. Right.
I lost that race, and then you know I did a couple others, and I started winning, and but then the serious when the video that I showed you with 650 Eve, Slim Thug, Moto Mac, Doug was out there, a couple of folks when we were in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
Um, there I went knowing that these guys know what they're doing, right? There was a built ZX10 that got me, and I got some others. Shout out to a couple of folks. If I don't name you, it's not on purpose. I'm old, so it's just a lot. But in the interest of trying not to make this thing too long, but yeah, it's like you win some, you lose some, you learn, and when you lose, the L is not, you being a loser. The L is like you're learning, right? So
Correct. Correct.
I
Yeah.
would tell you today when I was riding Zeus, if I now with the ceramic bearings, the Rotobox boost, carbon fiber, the built motor, so on and so forth. And I'm learning, like I'm getting used to the power. I'm getting, I'm learning to just snap it, just like Gil taught me. He's just like, no,
Yeah.
you don't ease into it, just chop it. You're not at the drag strip where you're gonna ease in so that you don't freaking, 12 o'clock it, you know. But
Right. Right.
I think that some folks are too caught in winning instead of the journey to get faster. I think that's fun. Like, hey, I'm just trying to get faster. I don't care about how many wins or losses is there. I'm not a pro. I'm doing this recreationally. You know, but I mean, to give Geo some time to speak on it, like I don't know. Like, what's why does the mentality have to be like that? Where it's I gotta win, I gotta win, instead of simply improving your skill, your technique, working on your bike, and then the results will speak for itself. What are your thoughts?
Right. I feel like as long as we all ride amongst friends and we continue to learn together, it should be fine. Like I don't understand why this toxic um, competitive mind state exists, but I understand at some point, you know, I mean, who likes losing?
Right.
Exactly what you've been pointing out.
Hmm.
Nobody likes losing. Everybody likes winning. But when we're amongst friends, I feel
It
a
shouldn't
lose.
matter.
I mean, a loss is a win as well. Like you said, the L is for learning, and as we ride and continue to ride, whether our motors is built or not,
Hmm.
daily you're also always learning.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
you don't always have to come in like, oh yeah, I know everything. I've been writing 20,000 years. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I
Yeah, I
mean.
know.
I've
Yeah,
been
yeah.
writing twenty
Hmm.
thousand years, but it's like talk like that won't get you nowhere either. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather keep humble, listen, be silent, speak a few words, and learn
Right,
so
right,
that I'm wiser.
right.
And also to do it in a safe manner as well, because it's all fun until somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, and that's when the whole temperature changes. You know what I mean? So I get you, I get you, and and to add to that, I've been on rides where folks messing around and a little boo boo happens because they're getting too hard charging and getting hot headed and neglect safety and so on and so forth. Big shout out to my boy Kenny, the Green ZX14, um, from South Jersey. When me and him were doing our pulls, that was so much fun, so much fun. Gio, you saw the video, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the
So
video.
and afterwards, when he got me on that first one, I'm like, oh, okay. He woke me up. So we were like trading back and forth, and the difference maker in the end was the quick shifter because he had to do hand shifting and I used my heel tech, and but it was close. And there was one race that we were literally neck and neck, you know. So I was like, well, damn,
Yeah,
all right. So again, afterwards, when me and him pulled off, and then because we were on the NJ Riders ride, and we got into PA, and we pulled over. He's like, "Man, the video's gonna be really good." There was no animosity, no nothing. That's why I would race him again. I would have so much fun with him because it's like going to an arcade, throwing your quarters in, and I'm dating myself, but like that was just so much fun. Like, hey, let's do it again. Let's do it again. As opposed
right,
to
right.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
actually enjoy it.
Right, right. You know, I am a big proponent of bringing people together, smiling, just just keeping the peace. Like it doesn't need to be uh such a venomous thing. You know, like to me, if you're sparring or you just enjoying a little something, hey, at the end of the day, because I tell you this, me and Ken, uh, were better after the fact. You know, like even with me trying to tuck, I remember Moto Mac saw the video and he's like, "You guys got to tuck," but with my suit on, it was kind of like, oh man, it was kind of tight on me, so I could only
Yeah,
get down but so much. So I see why Outspoken Tigers videos, some of the folks, they either wear more loose clothing, some just wear t-shirts and rock with it because ergonomically they can bend without having the leather, cut you up a little bit in terms of
right, right.
restricting your movement. But yeah, with that, I learned that the deeper I got close to the tank, even with my dreads pulling, like it didn't make much of a difference because the dreads kind of got narrow, and then the tip of the bulbousness of the helmet, the wind kind of it kind of blocked where the dreads were, so I didn't really feel too much when I was racing Ken. And that was it was fun. Like I tell you, Gio, I wish you were out on that ride because everybody got well. The first half of the ride was fine. It was going home where shout out to Jessica, where something bad happened, but you know, without going into the negative side of things, the way that me and Kenny had that fun, that should be the blueprint for how it is done all the time. You know, no animosity, no nothing. We were high fiving and we're like kids, like, yeah, 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 you got that off, whatever. And I was telling them, man, you got me on this, I'm gonna get you on that. And then, I can't wait to link up with Ken again and do the thing. So if I go down to meet him, Gio, you gotta bring Rocky down and you do your thing. Wink, wink.
Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely in.
Yeah, so I think everybody should just take a little something from one another, learn. Hey, let's say Mike Alonso gets like a nice little launch on you and say, hey, what was your technique? Show me how to do that. You know, that's something that when I spoke to NV King last, where we were at, what was it? Motorcycle Mall, right? And he said
Okay.
something to me from E7 to E7. Shout out to him, where he's like, you know what? If somebody beat me in a race, I'm not gonna be sitting there hating on them. He's like, teach me how to do that. Show me how to do that. I'll never forget that. That's a shout out to him. You know, I remember in the parking lot, he was just like, "Hey, I want you to teach me so that I can get better. And then if I best you, it is gonna push you to get better. You get what I'm saying? And it
Right,
should
right.
always be like, hey, iron sharpens iron type of thing. So
Exactly.
I just think that just the overall culture in terms of like, hey, just being nice, enjoy the hobby. You know, if you're gonna take racing seriously, go to the track. If a lot of folks with the yapping at the mouth and all that, like, if they're really trying to be a street Rossi, go get your license. Go do your thing down at Atco's gone, and that's gonna be a topic for another day. It's like everything's closing down, all the tracks, everything just
Yeah,
like
down this way, definitely.
yeah. I think Jersey, we don't even have anything aside from NJMP anymore. You
No,
know?
no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, because Atco's gone. Um, we still have Poconos, but that's in PA. And then NYST. And that's a hike. That's like 3 hours from us. You know, so.
Uh, Also, Alex,
Hmm.
for the listeners, I want to state something here that in no way, shape, or form are we encouraging you guys to go out and race. You do that at your own risk.
Right.
Every rider, they're experienced and they know their bike. They will ride their own ride.
Right.
Always be careful. have fun, and try to make it back home safe.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that out there because the whole point of this podcast is the toxicity of competition.
hmm It, it can
Mm,
it can make you take unnecessary risk. And
right.
what have I always said in the chat, Gio? Live to ride another day. You know,
Live to ride another day. That's right.
yeah, I've been in like sprint exchanges where it's like, oh, like I'm trying to keep up with somebody, but hey, they might take a hole or split like a vehicle, and I'm like, hey, I'll back off. I mean, I have to play catch up, but I'm getting home. I'm getting home. That
Right.
that and the
Right.
and the
Correct. Yeah.
story, because yeah, I can always get another chance, but if you're playing the razor's edge, you know, and
Yeah.
I knew a writer, and y'all know him, one of the my many mentors. He rode the razor's edge, and the way he was doing his thing, him, Steve, Gil, like man, those guys were like uh what was it, on ice skates, like the way they would lean and everything, and I tried to pattern myself after them, at the track and everything. But I lost my brother, man. So I would say to folks, just ride your ride. I don't want to get news. Like for instance, recently we found out Route 46, up north Jersey, already fatalities, and it's not even, it's preseason. We're just getting,
Yeah. Yeah.
warm days, and folks are already like, having problems. Like, what's going on? What is going on? Like that's I don't know. We got to do better. We got to do better. So
Also for any new writer um, listening to this, always go out in your gear, please. I can't stress this enough.
yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
yesterday, yesterday when I was coming down from work on the bike, um, I'm crossing Elizabeth Township, and I come to see what looked like, it kind of looked like a R1. So as I'm getting closer, I say to myself, let me go a little bit faster.
Mhm.
So I see a female body on the bike, and I'm like, oh, so this guy is riding his girl or whatever, So I'm like, let me
Mhm.
slow down. I don't want to startle them.
Right.
So I decided to go around the side, and when I look, it was a chick by herself. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning wear your gear is because she literally had on spandex, some sneakers, light sneakers,
No comment.
and
No comment. No comment.
I mean, I'm not gonna sound like a hypocrite. I've done it too. I've done it. I've done it. But if you will be taking long rides, please wear your full gear so that you can be safe. It is the safest way. It's not gonna save you from the X thing. I don't want to talk about that, but
Mhm.
at least you won't have such a effed up day, and you'll live to ride another day and get back up and get back on your bike.
Yeah. Well, I know two people that will remain nameless because I don't want to put no one on Green Street, but riding fast and trying to just look. It's okay to look cute and stuff, but what's the price of your well-being? And you need that extra layer, because they're gonna get that wire brush in your skin, and it's gonna hurt.
Correct.
It's
Yes.
gonna hurt.
Yes.
I watched one of my friends at the VA. Unfortunately, two of my people aren't speaking anymore. But yeah, I was at the VA, and they were all up in his skin. Like that. Ooh, yuck. Ooh, it
Yeah,
makes
that's
my
bad. That's bad.
yeah. It
That's
make
real bad.
yeah. As Psycho Cruiser would say, have a bad day. Mm. We don't want that for y'all. But, just some safety tips here and there. I mean, Gio and I are going to do more of these as I'm working around my technical difficulties. We're going to have some good stuff. But again, I guess in retrospect, if you're in a circle, you don't want to create divisiveness, toxic, venomous. You don't want that environment where you're cool with people and then now you're not speaking over just silly stuff, right? Then you also
Right.
have to be,
Create no division.
yeah, and then be realistic about what your machine's capabilities are. Some people like over exaggerate what their stuff can do. I've been accused of this, and I'm just like, yeah, because you don't like my bike or you don't like the Kawasaki platform, you're gonna crap on it. Okay, hey, fine. You European bike guys, hey, you're entitled to your preference, but you don't have to crap on my machine or crap on Kawasaki because you like another brand. Just like the other brand. And it kind of falls into, for those gamers who know about the console wars and the Xbox versus PlayStation, like it's literally like cults, like folks like, hey, just because I play PlayStation doesn't mean I can't play Xbox. It's just another way to play a game. Same thing with motorcycles. So if I'm not gonna hate on the V4, I'm not gonna hate on the S1000. A lot of times it's the operators of those machines that can get really toxic. You know, so it all boils down to just like what you like. Don't crap on anybody else's preference, and let's just all have fun. You rep your brand. Don't get me wrong, but you don't have to be an asshat about it. So
I mean, I wasn't always a Kawasaki guy. I started with a Yamaha. I was very fond of it.
right.
Um, till I kind of upgraded to a different brand. Went to Suzuki GSXR till I find out that a lot of folks think that riding a Gixxer is gay, or they used to call me an asshole. I don't know why, but that's the rep that Gixxer guys get anyway. And after that, um, I did fall into Yamaha again, and then finally I fell on pulling the trigger and actually making it happen to the 14 Kawasaki. And I will tell you, brother, I'm Kawasaki 1000%. I'm not saying I don't like other bikes.
Hmm.
I like other bikes. I would like to have other bikes, different name brands.
Yeah.
But for me particularly, this is my favorite bike.
Hmm. Hey, look, I'll tell you this. I guess as we draw to the end, um, shout out to Mikey B. I let him ride Zeus. One night we were out riding, and I was riding his Victory Gunner. The next week he got the Hoff, his Gen One ZX14. Um,
Oh, look at that.
right then, who joins us? Shout out to Big Enzo. He gets his ZX14. Right. Then you got Carmine. He had the bike for some time, and there's a lot of folks that, yeah, it's a comfortable bike. It does so many different things well. I wouldn't say it masters anything, but it's the best all around bike you can get right now. Period. Period. Tell me the H2 can go cross country. You know what I mean? And you be comfortable. Your back is going to be screaming at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
especially,
believe so. Yes.
yeah, that's why I don't do leader bikes anymore, because I was already having back problems for years, and then the surgery happened. Like, I don't think the leader bike, I physically can't do it anymore. You know, so I mean, I could do it for short periods, but I can't. I don't have the tolerance because I'll get like spasms, and it's just not gonna work out too well. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, people just gotta understand that there's different strokes for different folks. You know,
Yeah, definitely. There is, yeah.
I could be a jerk and needle folks like the H2 is king right now, but and that's from the factory. Everybody knows that there's that Hyper Boost by TTS. That's like an add-on. That's like a different, thing. That's not from the factory. Suzuki didn't produce that, so I'm putting that out there for folks that are like, yeah, yeah, it's super boosted. Suzuki didn't. It was TTS that did that. I know Chris Moore has some insane numbers with that. Gen 3 right now. So just putting that out
Oh
there.
yeah.
And anything you want to put out for your channel, you know, plugs and so on and so forth, and any shout outs you want to put.
Working on getting my whole camera things. Had a little setback before. I'm actually in the beginning of the season.
All right, cool,
I'm
cool.
I'm I'm 100.
Situation fixed, but just make sure, in general, rate, comment, subscribe to my channel. Make sure you check out Revving to Riches, Moto Mac, Clutch First, all the other YouTube. We're all one big family out there. Support one another, and again, just be nice. Let's enjoy this bike life. And so some few don't have any, vitriol to one another. All right. So, it,
Should not.
right, right, right. All right. So the man that meant this out. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.